So, I've talked about arcade rhythm games on this channel quite a bit before. I wasn't really a huge fan of Dance Rush Stardom, but I've mentioned Dance Dance Revolution, and I've even fully reviewed My, which I thought was pretty sweet. For me, the fun part about these kinds of games, and particularly rhythm games in general, is the dedication, the grind. Gradually working your way up and up in difficulty levels, becoming even better and better as you play, until you're just a freaking expert that can clear any song in the entire game. I would personally recommend you find one specific game that you really enjoy and focusing on grinding that one out so that you can learn and get used to the basics before you branch out to other games. So you may be wondering, what is that one game for me? When I'm in Japan, 100% hands down, Chunithm. So, what is Chunithm, I can hear you asking? What the heck does that word even mean? Well, that is an excellent question. I have no freaking idea. The cabinets make the game seem relatively simple at first. Beneath the screen, you'll see a row of piano-looking keys. This is actually just a touchpad. You don't have to press any buttons, luckily. You just put your hand down when the note hits the judgment line and boom, you're done. The nice thing here is that the touchpad is right up against the screen and it's exactly the same size as the judgment line. Because of this, even beginners don't really need to constantly look down at their hands, you know, it's very intuitive. Just slap that touchpad right beneath where the note hits. There's no real way for you to lose track of where your hands are. So I can tell you're thinking, you know, so what? This just seems like a generic tap-tap game, the kind that are a dime a dozen on mobile devices. Well, it may seem that way at first, but in this clip, I'm not raising my hands like this just to look cool. I mean, let's be honest though, I do look pretty cool. These notes with the arrows pointing upwards are air notes. On the side of the machine's dividers are some sensors, and when these air notes come down, the sensors require you to physically raise your hand up. It's incredibly satisfying as it produces a very distinct whoosh sound effect. Whoosh. Whoosh. Bah. Yeah, just remove that in editing.
Nope.
They're usually located at flourishes in the song too, so it always just feels so right to hit them each and every time. There are also these notes in the air that require you to flick your hand downward or hold your hand up in the air, unable to hit normal notes. The level designers all did a fantastic job of mixing up the standard notes, holds, flick notes, and aerial notes to truly create one of the most kinetic rhythm games I've played. I think that having fun movement can be a huge benefit to a rhythm game. You know, it's why I like Dance Dance Revolution so much, since you have to physically move yourself in order to play. Chunithm strikes a similar chord with me in that department, in that it's more than just pressing the right buttons. You know, you have to move your arms and hands all over the place, crossing over and going back, spreading out your fingers or bringing them in close. It isn't just the aerial notes that keep you moving, they also utilize these orange hold notes and blue slide notes in creative ways to have you going all over the place, only on the ground. Sometimes there's 3 or more notes at the same time and you have to spread your fingers out to hit more than one with a single hand. On master difficulty, there's also flick notes that require you to do a flick motion horizontally, and the back and forth on these when they're all in a row is very satisfying. So the point is, it's not a generic note-tapping game. I mean, you do tap notes, but it's a much more movement-oriented game due to the way the songs are mapped and the way the machine itself is built. Now, the gameplay is really fun. I hope I've gotten that across at least. But there's another side to the game that I quite enjoy as well, and that'd be the progression. Upon starting up the game, you'll be given the option to choose a map. Now, this is different than how I usually use the term map, in that it's not a beat map or a song. Instead, it's a little progression chart that you earn progress for by playing songs. You can get bonuses for getting full combos or for playing certain featured songs or genres. You get all kinds of cool things for getting to the end of these maps, usually stuff to trick out your profile banner up in the top left. They have a ton featuring Chunithm exclusive characters, but they also do a lot of collaborations with other video games, and anime and things like that. I'm using the recent Phantasy Star Online cosmetics at the top, but as you can see here, I've got a character from the anime Toradora as well. I've seen a ton of different collaborations over my time playing, so log in frequently and you may just find something you're a fan of like I did. But I want to talk a little bit more about these characters I mentioned. Sadly, if you don't speak Japanese, this is the one part of the game you may have trouble with. The rest of it is super English friendly, but the characters have some important text for them. Each character has a unique skill that can change the game up for you a bit. Now, luckily, they don't affect your score. You don't need any characters to get a good score. Scoring is all skill, as it should be. Instead, the characters can affect your map progression that I mentioned earlier, or your health bar that affects whether you fail the song or not. Sometimes they make the game easier, giving you some free extra health at the beginning of a round, or boosting your ending health at the end if you score high enough to earn a certain rank. Others make it harder by making your health bar recover extremely slowly, or you straight up fail the song if you don't score above a certain threshold. However, these difficult ones reward you greatly with a lot more map progress should you succeed and pass the song. These are some of the simpler examples, and they can get pretty complex. Some of the skills may be fairly difficult to understand for beginning Japanese learners, and especially for those who speak no Japanese at all. However, as I said, these only affect your map progress, not your scoring. The only skills that make the game harder are very clearly marked with a spooky purple skull, so just, pick the cutest anime girl that doesn't have that skull and you'll be good to go. Aside from collectibles, the ranking system is pretty fun too. I'm not too sure how it works, but this rating number is your rank, and I think it's supposed to mean the average difficulty level you're able to play. There's also courses you can take for when you get extremely good. They're a set series of songs with some restrictions in place that make them even more challenging, such as forcing you to clear while missing less than 10 notes across all 3 songs, for example. This is really tough, but if you're able to clear one, you'll get a permanent badge on your profile showing what level you were able to get to on these courses. It's kind of like a bunch of tests, each one harder than the last, with the highest one you cleared being displayed. There's also special World's End level songs. Some of these are more meme-ish maps with some funny gimmicks, but most of them are meant to be the highest level of difficulty possible. Few people can clear World's End difficulty, and to be honest, I really like the name for it. I mean, instead of being called something boring like Super Expert, they called it World's End. That just sounds so cool, and it makes me feel cool for being able to play it. Though, with all the movement required for these songs, I realize I probably look even more ridiculous playing on this difficulty than I would normally. Lastly, it's impossible to talk about content without talking about the song list. Chunithm has been around for a long time, and with each update, they keep bringing in more and more music. I have yet to find any songs that have been removed, though I am sure they're there. There's a good variety, with the songs sorted pretty well. You've got anime and J-pop, Toho remixes, game music, Vocaloid, Chunithm original music, and several other categories too. This isn't some low-profile song list either. If you're a weeb, you're gonna recognize a lot of music in this game. They really went all out with the licensed songs, and I gotta respect that. It also really helps that all the music works very well in rhythm game format. So, how can you play this game? Well, unfortunately, you're gonna have to go to Japan. See, the nice thing about the last 2 arcade games I reviewed was that the chain of Round 1 arcades in the United States, and some places in Southeast Asia I've heard, were able to stock them somehow. However, as far as I know, Chunithm has yet to make the move. Therefore, you've got to be in Japan in order to play it. It's really a true shame since I feel that it's Japan's best arcade game. But I guess that's just the way it is. I mean, hey, here's hoping they can get it over here somehow. I've seen it at anime conventions, so maybe a professional arcade can pick it up somehow. But until then, play this game if you ever find yourself in Japan. It's one of Sega's most popular games, so you should be able to find it in just about any Sega arcade. But I also see it in plenty of other brand arcades as well. Actually, I think I might have an idea of a way to play it. The same. It's just not the same. Hey, thanks for watching. Just wanted to mention I am also streaming now. If you're watching this as it goes live, I'm probably streaming right now, so head to the link in the description and come hang out.